The Final Journey of a King, Unraveling the Mystery of How Did King Solomon Die? King Solomon, Classes. Welcome to an enriching exploration of a question that has intrigued historians, scholars, and curious minds alike. How did King Solomon die? Though the Bible offers a rich tapestry of his wisdom, wealth, and grandeur, the circumstances of King Solomon's death remain somewhat shrouded in mystery. Let's embark on a deep dive into this subject, drawing from an array of resources to seek answers. How did King Solomon die? The life of King Solomon. King Solomon, a brief overview. Known as one of the most distinguished figures in biblical history, Solomon was the son of King David and Bathsheba. His reign as king of Israel, 970 to 931 BCE, is often referred to as the Golden Age of Israel's monarchy. Renowned for his wisdom and wealth, King Solomon's accomplishments include building the first temple in Jerusalem and penning a significant portion of the Old Testament wisdom literature. Solomon's ascension to the throne. Solomon's journey to kingship was not a straightforward one. The rightful heir was Adonijah, David's eldest surviving son, but Bathsheba and the prophet Nathan intervened, resulting in Solomon's ascension. Timeline of the major events on Solomon's life. Here is a table and timeline of the major events in the life of Solomon, as described in the Old Testament. Event time period: Solomon's birth c. 1010 BCE, anointing as king c. 970 BCE, building the first temple c. 967 to 959 BCE, completion of the temple c. 959 BCE, dedication of the temple c. 959 BCE, wisdom and knowledge throughout Solomon's reign, alliance and trade with Hiram of Tyre c. 967 to 957 BCE, construction of palaces and cities throughout Solomon's reign, fame and international recognition throughout Solomon's reign, marriage alliances throughout Solomon's reign, Ecclesiastes and Song of Solomon composed during Solomon's reign, decline and idolatry, later years of Solomon's reign, death of Solomon c. 931 BCE. Timeline c. 1010 BCE - Solomon's birth, 970 BCE - anointing as king, 967 to 959 BCE, building the first temple, 959 BCE - completion of the temple, 959 BCE - dedication of the temple throughout Solomon's reign, wisdom and knowledge, alliance and trade with Hiram of Tyre, construction of palaces and cities, fame and international recognition, marriage alliances during Solomon's reign, composition of Ecclesiastes and Song of Solomon, later years of Solomon's reign - decline and idolatry, 931 BCE - death of Solomon. This table and timeline provide an overview of the major events in Solomon's life, spanning from his birth to his death. It includes significant accomplishments such as the construction and dedication of the first temple, his reputation for wisdom and knowledge, alliances with other kingdoms, cultural and artistic achievements, and the later decline marked by idolatry. Solomon's reign is known for its prosperity, grandeur, and his renowned wisdom, which left a lasting impact on Israelite history. The reign of Solomon. Solomon's wisdom. Solomon's reign was marked by unprecedented wisdom. The Bible highlights his wisdom in various narratives, with the most famous being the Judgment of Solomon, where he intelligently resolves the dispute over a baby between two women. Solomon's wisdom in Solomon's life. Solomon wisdom. Here is a table showcasing the events that highlight Solomon's wisdom in his life. Event description: God's grant of wisdom in a dream. God appears to Solomon and offers him anything he desires. Solomon humbly asks for wisdom to govern the people of Israel effectively. Solomon's wise judgment. Solomon gains fame for his wisdom and discernment, exemplified by his renowned judgment in the case of the two women claiming to be the mother of the same child. International reputation for wisdom. The fame of Solomon's wisdom spreads beyond Israel, attracting the attention of neighboring nations, who come to seek his counsel and witness his wisdom firsthand. Proverbs and wise sayings. Solomon is credited with composing many proverbs, which are renowned for their insightful and practical wisdom, providing guidance for various aspects of life. Exploration of natural sciences. Solomon's wisdom extends to the study of natural sciences, including botany and zoology. He has a deep understanding of plants, animals, and their characteristics. Influence on future wisdom literature. Solomon's wisdom, as demonstrated in his proverbs and writings, serves as a foundation and influence for future wisdom literature in various cultures and religions. This table highlights the events that showcase Solomon's wisdom throughout his life. It begins with God granting him wisdom in response to his humble request. Solomon's wise judgment in the case of the two women and his renowned reputation for wisdom attract attention and admiration both within Israel and internationally. His composition of proverbs, exploration of natural sciences, and the lasting influence of his wisdom on future literature further illustrate his intellectual depth and insight. Solomon's wisdom is a defining characteristic of his reign and has left a significant impact on religious, philosophical, and literary traditions. Wives of King Solomon. Here is a table listing the known wives of King Solomon, as mentioned in the Old Testament. 300 wives and 700 concubines. Wife origin and background: Pharaoh's daughter of the Egyptian pharaoh, brought as a political alliance and marriage partner to Solomon. Many foreign wives. Solomon had numerous wives from various nations, including Moabites, Ammonites, Edomites, Sidonians, and Hittites, among others. Unknown names. The Old Testament does not provide specific names or details about all of Solomon's wives, only mentioning that he had a multitude of foreign wives. This table indicates the notable wives of King Solomon. The most prominent is Pharaoh's daughter, who was brought into the marriage as a political alliance between Egypt and Israel. Additionally, Solomon had numerous wives from different nations, as recorded in the Old Testament, contributing to the vast number of foreign wives mentioned in the biblical accounts. It is important to note that the biblical texts do not provide specific names or information about all of Solomon's wives. The emphasis is placed on the consequences of his many foreign marriages, which eventually led to his spiritual decline and the division of the kingdom. Achievements and acquisitions. Under Solomon's rule, Israel prospered and expanded territorially. He was known for his architectural endeavors, the most famous being the construction of the Temple of Jerusalem. He also established a strong trade network and amicable foreign relations through marriages. Here is a table showcasing the major achievements of Solomon, the son of King David. Achievement description. Construction of the first temple. Solomon undertakes the construction of the first temple in Jerusalem, which becomes a symbol of worship and centralizes religious practices for the Israelites. Completion and dedication of the temple. The construction of the first temple is completed, and Solomon presides over its dedication ceremony. This momentous event marks the consecration of the temple as the dwelling place of God's presence among his people. Expansion of Jerusalem. Solomon expands the city of Jerusalem, constructing fortifications and establishing it as a political and cultural center. Administrative and judicial reforms. Solomon implements administrative and judicial reforms, organizing the kingdom into districts, appointing officials, and establishing a just and efficient legal system. Trade and alliance with Hiram of Tyre. Solomon establishes a prosperous trade network and forms a strategic alliance with Hiram, the king of Tyre. This trade partnership enhances the economic growth and stability of Israel and contributes to its overall prosperity. Cultural and artistic achievements. Solomon fosters cultural and artistic endeavors, commissioning the construction of palaces, gardens, and grand infrastructure projects, reflecting the grandeur and sophistication of his reign. Acquisition of wisdom and proverbial literature. Solomon's wisdom and intellectual pursuits contribute to the compilation of Proverbs, Ecclesiastes, and Song of Solomon, renowned literary works that showcase his insightful teachings and philosophical reflections. International recognition and influence. Solomon's reputation spreads far and wide, attracting international recognition and admiration for his wisdom, wealth, and splendor. His court becomes a center of diplomacy, attracting envoys and visitors from various nations. This table highlights the major achievements of Solomon, the son of King David. It includes his notable accomplishments such as the construction and dedication of the first temple, expansion of Jerusalem, administrative and judicial reforms, trade partnerships, cultural and artistic endeavors, acquisition of wisdom and literary contributions, and his international recognition and influence. Solomon's achievements solidify his reign as a time of great prosperity, cultural advancement, and intellectual prominence in the history of ancient Israel. Fall from grace. Despite his glorious reign, the Bible also narrates Solomon's moral decline. His many foreign wives led him astray, turning his heart towards idol worship. This deviation angered God, leading to a prophecy that his kingdom would be torn apart. The death of King Solomon. Die. How did King Solomon die? The biblical account, the Bible, specifically in 1 Kings 11:41-43, states Solomon rested with his ancestors and was buried in the city of David his father. However, it does not give a specific cause of death, leading to many interpretations and theories. Here is a table outlining the events surrounding the death of King Solomon, as described in the Old Testament. Event description. Decline and apostasy. In Solomon's later years, he turns away from the worship of Yahweh and begins to worship foreign gods, leading to a decline in his devotion to God. Divine judgment. As a consequence of Solomon's apostasy, God pronounces judgment against him, stating that the kingdom will be torn apart after his death. Father, grandfather, minister, missionary, deacon, elder, author, welcome to our family. View all posts.